do you guys choose music, and what dramatic role do you see the songs playing in the way you tell the story?
Well, by and large, we put the music on last. We shoot the episode, make it as dramatically and comedically good as possible, and then look at it, and usually we try various songs placed against the picture.
I've gotten from David 20 requests for one scene, and the difference between one song to the next is black and white.
You can do something that obviously complements the scene and is very much in sync with what you're describing emotionally. Sometimes it goes completely against it.
David is like a jukebox. He'll pull some obscure, song from doo-wop song from 1956 or something, and he'll remember like the lyric in the fourth verse of the doo-wop song before the chorus, or how often the chorus was repeated, or if there was an instrumental bridge.
So do you have someone who brings you sort of 10 songs for this scene, and you pick one?
No, there are songs that I've either thought about or I've always wanted to use, or I'm always listening for. I mean, Scorsese first did it in Mean Streets, and Kubrick has done it also. They don't use score; they use, I guess it's recorded music. I mean, I remember Mean Streets just blew my mind because of the way that was used, and that was a signal event in my life. And so when this show came about, all I knew was I didn't want to have a score.
He didn't want to hire a composer because he didn't want to tell the audience how to feel.
We've established kind of a working environment in which try anything. And some of those moments I think we've had very great success with.
When you say what will work, why does a song work with that picture? You just really don't know. There's some kind of the two things come together and there's this electric charge.
The A3 song, I mean, had you heard that song before?
I heard that on the radio.
And it just struck you this could work.
I heard that on the radio about maybe 6 months before we were going to do that. It's just I remembered the song. I liked it. It's got this great beat, and it's got that Howlin' Wolf sample and all that stuff in it. And then we put it up against the picture, and it was just like, oh my God, like your mama told you to be the chosen one, your father never taught you about right and wrong. Right. This is perfect.
It's very powerful stuff. When Jimmy with the cigar and then driving the car through Jersey and the hairy arms, and when that song is going on, some women said that it's very macho, very physical, very sexual kind of a thing. I guess she fell in love with him,
When I first heard it, I thought, this is too close. It's too obvious. Got myself a gun. That occurs all the time with David. You think, I'm not sure I would have done that. And then, a month later you think, well, that's just fantastic. I wish I'd thought of that.
At first, I wanted to do a different song every week, and HBO wisely said, no. People want it when they're in the next room and they hear that song and they know the show's on.
Like the Brady Bunch, right?
Like the Brady Bunch, exactly, exactly the Brady.
Are the songs you play, are they supposed to sort of be in the world of the characters, or it's sort of a separate reality coming into?
Both. I mean, because we use songs that you would never have nothing to do with their world. I remember when we first got started, after we did the pilot, I was talking to Stevie Van Zandt, and I was sort of breaking his balls a little bit. I said, well, I want to use music, a lot of the music that would be that Tony and Carmela would have listened to in high school. I said, I want to use this, like Loverboy. Remember that band? He went, oh, my God, oh, no.
Well, that's a discussion we have a lot. And it's a tough one because... you want to be authentic and you want to be, but of course, to really be authentic, they're going to listen to a bunch of terrible shit, I mean, it's going to all be like 70s and 80s rock, you know what I mean? That's what they listen to.
With Tony, I think it's important not to be afraid of the pop culture that's fed to him in his world and what is just easily digested and played, and played out.
I'm always like, well, can we at least find something kind of cool from that era, which takes a bit of work to find something. But if you find something that's like too cool, then it no longer works in the scene. You know what I mean? Now it doesn't fit. So it's tricky business.
Oh, there he is.
Also, you have, Stevie Van Zandt.
Stevie Van Zandt. There's a song he does called Inside of Me, which is one of my favorite songs, which we have used.
Uh-huh.
That song, which I heard in 1981, after he'd left Springsteen, he had formed this band, the Disciples of Soul, Little Steven and the Disciples of Soul. And I said, someday I'm going to write a TV pilot, a TV show, the theme song of which is going to be that song. But the thing that's interesting to me about it is I said that long before I knew Steven Van Zandt, and yet there he is in the show.
How did that come about with him being on the show?
I used to listen to those albums with headphones on, and also I'd look at this Italian guy, and I used to think, look at that face, at that, you know, sort of intense thing. Then we're casting the show, and I saw him inducting the Rascals into the
Rock and Roll
Hall of Fame, and he did the induction, and he had a great presence about him. And I said, that guy's got to be in the show.
I was very surprised. It wasn't just lip service, like, you know, I'm a fan of yours, but really I'm a fan of Bruce's, which is, you know, understandably what I get 100% of the time. You know, it's not even 99% of the time. It's 100% of the time, you know.
Where the fuck you been? You're late. Highway was jammed with broken heroes on a last chance power drive.
He's really been an inspiration. I can't imagine the show without him.
Wow. Well, he's got encyclopedic knowledge of music, too.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
He's amazing. From his Underground Garage, we've used a couple of songs that he's reminded me of or we've talked about. This is a very pretty song. It's Nils Lofgren's song called Black Books. This is an example of music that was not in my framework. I didn't know this music, and then we met him through Stevie, and he gave us this great CD, and on there was this song, and it just worked really perfectly for this. But this was not something I knew since I was a kid or anything like that. It just came to us as like a gift, and it was great.
Said they weren't meant to last. Too many.
It's about somebody who wants to leave her relationship.
She wants new shoulders to cry on, new backseat to lie on, and she always gets her way.
And then it brings us into the next scene in which she goes home to Tony, and she's very, very depressed, and she sort of holds him up for $50,000 for Columbia University.
50 G's.
Yes.
What happens here is that this is the best she can do. This is the episode in which a shrink, a very old shrink, had told her to leave him and said that it was blood money and that take your children and go as far away as you can.
You look like you could use a night off from cooking. We say we go out.
And he said, and one thing you can never say is you haven't been told. That's the end of this episode. And so she hasn't got it in her to leave. But she takes that blood money and gives $50,000 of it to Columbia University, which allows her, I guess, to live with herself.